Hi, it's Ileana, and today I am going to discuss a very interesting find that I discovered. So there's this one new author. Her name is Mackie. She does science fiction, romance novels, and I have found reading her new novel series called Darkfire and Heartfire very interesting because she describes the smart suits perfectly, what Planetary Corporations creates on the Mars basis for the smart suits. She described it in a very similar way to my 2017 presentation about these smart suits. So I'm going to read a description of these smart suits from her book description. They began examining the straps on the jumpsuit. They had been outfitted with combat suits. So they had been outfitted with combat suits, tightly fitted and a pale tan color, with brown splotches that would blend well with the cavern floor and walls. The suits were dotted with low reflectivity interface crystals that would scan their environment and their own bodies, providing a constant stream of information to both the wearer as the commander on their environment, location, and health status. The suits themselves captured waste and water, recycling the water through inbuilt filters powered by the body's heat, motion, or environmental energy like sunlight. So this basically describes the smart suits, because when I had been in Planetary Corp working for the cybernetics labs attached to those Mars bases, what the smart suits could do is control bio-waste products. So basically, while you're wearing the smart suits, there's no bio-waste, biological matter created. When you take off the smart suits, it's business as normal, business as usual, because there's nanotechnology in the smart suits. So it has a way of monitoring your biological systems, and also in a way being able to change the molecular structure of your body temporarily to keep bio-waste at bay. These smart suits described here, or combat suits as Mackie calls them, they capture waste and water, recycling the water through inbuilt filters powered by the body's heat, motion, or environmental energy like sunlight. It captures wastes from the suits, and there's crystalline technology involved in that. It's also nanofiber, so nanotech woven into these suits. It's interesting. They also discuss finding ancient alien tech with AI sentience on these ships on Colony 29. So these book series is about finding a new place to colonize called Colony 29, and later on the planet is named Galactic after the triple warrior goddess. So there's ancient tech involved. It's similar to the Ark ships. What's being described now as awakening, those ships awakening, and also creating a new colony where there's genetic engineering happening of DNA to create warriors, to create super soldiers, also changing the anatomy of the human template bodies, like adjusting the digestive systems of humans to the flora and fauna of the planet that they're going to inhabit on the colony. Instead of terraforming the planet the humans are adapted to the planet by using biological serums that are specifically created to change the anatomy of the human template, of the humanoid species, to be able to function and survive on the planet, to adapt the species to the planet instead of terraforming the planet to the species. So these book series, Darkfire, Heartfire, Wildfire, and the other two books coming up in these series, really focus on what it's like to create a brand new colony with humanoid template species adapting to the planetary system, where they've had their genetics augmented and also their human biological systems with biological drug serums, which on Mars, I was using plasma therapies to add in more oxygenation to the human body and boost the immune system of those incoming personnel, SSP personnel, fresh from Earth going to Mars for colonization. So you have to adapt. You need more oxygen on Mars because there's less oxygen in the atmosphere. So those plasma therapies were adapters. They were serum adapters to create more plasma in the body, to create more oxygenation so you can breathe better on the planet and not be sick when you're coming to Mars. So that's similar work to what is described in this book. This is a colonization series, and it's really interesting because it has the ancient alien tech, which psychically merges with your psionic abilities and creates psychic thought patterns connecting you to these ancient ships who were built by ancient alien explorers that have disappeared, but their alien tech was left behind, and now these colony folks who have landed on the colony are adapting to this tech, working with it, studying it. There's also exotic resources and minerals on the planet that help to shield ships. That is a natural resource, which is very exotic. So this colony is very important to its colonists to protect because of its specialties with the zillion, which is that exotic mineral resource which creates invisibility and shielding, and also the mineral itself is very strong, so it creates a very strong substance for building ships and powering ships. So the planet's resources are very important to protect for the colonists. There's many exciting space trips, many exciting missions in these books. And I'm going to talk about the smart suit. They call them the jumpsuits. We're discussing the jumpsuits. They were beautiful, pale blue, self-adjusting, form-fitting suits designed with a sophisticated AI which would monitor bodily functions as well as provide access to the ship's systems and automated response to environmental changes such as a clumsy colonist accidentally tripping out of an airlock. So our Neuralink implants in the SSP personnel, those that worked for Planetary Corp, they were connected to the smart suits. We were not connected to a sophisticated AI system, but in sci-fi novels, there often is sentient AI or some type of an AI sophisticated system that monitors the health of the colonists. And it's called a HUD system that is either attached to the ear or it's a cuff worn on the hands, and it alerts you to stuff connected to the jumpsuit or to incoming calls, messages. So it's not quite to the level of Neuralink implants. It's more of a wearable that can be temporarily removed when you go to sleep. It's worn on the body, but in the book it's connected to a sophisticated AI system that helps to monitor these jumpsuits, smart suits, help to adapt to the way of life on the new colony, protect the colonists and their health. So it's very interesting how sci-fi has actually integrated things that the secret space programs already do off-world on Mars and the Moon, and Pluto and other planets, and colonization happening. So this particular set of books, it has 5 series of books. 3 of them I've already read, and there's 2 more coming out. So Rose Mackie is someone to keep an eye out for, and I highly recommend her books, because whatever research she's done, or if this technology is coming from her imagination, which it could, she's perfectly described how planets are colonized, how colonization works in space, and how some of the secret space program technology actually works in a space setting and on colonies of planets. So her book series closely relates to how things actually work in the secret space programs and colonization of planets. So this is why I can relate to this book. And to me, this is the type of reading that I enjoy personally, because it describes the way of life in space, of how it actually is in outer space and the secret space programs. These book series is not about the secret space programs, but it closely describes what it's like out there in space and the similar technology of the ancient arc ships, which is ancient advanced tech that comes from the founder races, the seeders, and the ancient builder races, similar to what is described in these book series of the human template colonists finding ancient alien tech, advanced spaceships that are sentient, that can interact with the colonists and their psychic abilities and make connections, and exploring the tech, similar as these arc ships that are now awakening, and some people can psychically connect to them who have the DNA templates of the seeders, the founders, the ancient builder races. So this is not a coincidence. These book series from Rose Mackie came out in 2022. So it's a very interesting book series. I highly recommend it. This is sci-fi romance, so there are some elements of romance here and good plot lines and the characters. And there's also an alliance. There's also a space alliance of the humanoid beings who have the human template working together to have this alliance. And there's other species of beings who have their own alliances, and this describes how that stuff works as well. I think these book series have it all, and it's worth having a look at. And it caught my attention because of the jumpsuits and the combat suits. But there's other things in these book series that relate to outer space stuff that is happening now. So this book is very relatable, these book series. And I recommend starting from book 1 to book 5. And it's a good read. Thank you so much, and namaste.